What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I am Christopher Beam with Tactical Advantage, and today we're going to talk about the term semi-automatic.
Today's video is brought to us by Mantis. The Mantis family of products is integral to ASP staff building handgun and carbine skills and are your most economical and fastest path to improvement in your skills too. Whether you choose the X10, the Laser Academy, the Blackbeard, or use them all in concert, they will help your practice be more effective, efficient, and fun. Go check them out, pick up a unit, and thank them for sponsoring today's video.
So, welcome back, everybody. So today, on another episode of Guntionary, I thought I'd attack the term semi-automatic. So, many of you watching this video are going to know exactly what this means, but I think some people don't. So I thought it made sense to kind of make a short video just to kind of talk it through what the term means, what it actually does, and how that mechanism works to hopefully clarify some things. As time goes on, some of these terms are misappropriated and they make firearms look more ominous than they really are. So first things first, the definition of semi-automatic per Oxford Languages is having a mechanism for self-loading, but not for continuous firing. Again, that's Oxford Languages. So basically, semi-automatic only pertains to the loading procedure of a gun, wherein automatic would pertain to loading and firing. So this is a very separate and distinct thing. And I think we can kind of talk through a little bit on what that means. So what does that mean? Using chemical energy converted into kinetic energy of the fired cartridge to cause inertial reciprocation to load a new cartridge and prepare a firearm to begin the manual initiation of the firing sequence. Words. So what I've got here is my HKVP9, and I figured we'd just talk through this a little bit. When a round is chambered, and what we have here is just an empty case. When a round is chambered, it goes into the chamber itself, and the extractor right there will lip onto this and hold it against the breech face. And what happens when it fires, we have the projectile leaving the barrel under pressure from the explosion of the powder, or combustion of the powder, really. And then you have rearward pressure that's being created from, one, the combustion, and two, the back pressure from the sealing of the barrel with the projectile as it's exiting. And what that does, it pushes the case rearward, thus pushing the slide rearward. And then as it comes out, it'll hit the ejector, and your spent case will flippity flop out and hit the ground. So basically all that's happening is that explosion is creating rearward inertia, and that inertia is pushing the slide to the rear. And in turn, what happens is when it reaches its maximum distance, another round will be forced up or be available from the magazine. The slide will pick it up and chamber the next round. So again, only pertaining to the loading sequence. The firing sequence is still the same. One trigger press, one round fired. So that's basically what it means. Pretty simple stuff, but it gets taken out of context. But let's really talk about how long has the idea of semi-automatics been around? Well, the first modern interpretation, if I may be so bold to say that, was in 1885 by Ferdinand Mannlicher from Austria with the model 1885. So not new, certainly not new. Salvatore Dormas pistol 1891. That was the patent date, so the actual thought process behind it was probably much before. When you're looking at these, the biggest issue that they ran into was kind of black powder stuff, ensuring kind of regularity in the explosion process while a round is being kind of shot. And so those things, they weren't super modern by how we would see things today, but that was more an issue of ammunition than it was action type. Then you have the John Moses Browning with the Remington Model 8 in 1906 and subsequent variants of different guns, the 1911, on and on and on and on and on and on. I'm saying all this to say that the semi-automatic idea has been around for a long, long time, well over 100 years. And the technology and engineering behind it hasn't really changed. Ammunition has changed, become more reliable, better understanding of combustion theory, things like that. But the overall idea of using energy within the gun and the firing sequence and using it to self-load the firearm, that is nothing new. So next we've got to go into kind of like the little joke part with the full semi-auto. This is not a thing. So semi-automatic is either is or is not. There is no kind of middle ground there. The only time a semi-automatic can be anything other than a semi-automatic is if you have a malfunction and now it's a single shot gun because it didn't reciprocate properly, something didn't work properly. So that's really how the term applies to pistols. Now, with modification, if you do things to a firearm to make it automated in the firing sequence, again, that's something that's changing, that is being user-induced by parts change-outs, things like that. Won't get into any of that because that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But just talking about full semi-auto. Please, 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 if you hear that, understand that that's a term being used to change the definition of something for impact. That's not legitimately what it is, nor has any scientific background whatsoever. It's just a word that sounds good. Semi-automatics, again, only pertain to the loading procedure of a gun, not the firing sequence. It's 100% interchangeable with autoloader, if you've heard that. And basically, it's saying that there is no manual input required to load the gun. It's being dealt with by energy usage from the firing sequence. And last, and we've already kind of touched on this, but the loading sequence is separate and distinct from the firing sequence. So it's not necessarily faster, it's just using energy that already exists. Much like, if I had to use an analogy, an automatic transmission to a manual transmission as it pertains to the loading sequence of the gun. So this is a pretty quick one, but I thought it was worth kind of talking about. And again, I love going through this and kind of researching these things. So it's fun for me. I hope it's fun for you guys. But again, if you know, semi-autos are just that, semi-automatic. So with that, I will see you guys next time. Thanks.